Hello, everybody. Welcome to another new player guide for new players, I suppose. Today we're talking about Lola Hayes, the actress. This deck is built with 2 copies of the core set and the entire Path to Carcosa cycle, in which Lola Hayes came from, because she is the actress after all. If you only have 1 copy of the core set, we recommend picking up 2 or proxying the cards you don't have that you need in this deck. It will help you win more. In addition, if you've heard of something called the Taboo List, which this deck does have some cards from, we recommend you just ignore the Taboo List for the time being and then play with the cards as printed, because it's fun to play with the cards as they were originally printed. We did it and we had a good time with it, so you should too. Who wants to talk about Lola?
Man, I want this. I want Lola to be good, but she's not.
She's in the list with Preston and Calvin, not in the sense that like she's as hidden. In my opinion, she's not as good as them, but she's gonna be very difficult for a new player to play. Man. Sorry, Travis.
That's really unfair to Preston and Calvin.
Yeah, but Calvin is like very good, right? Like I think he's very strong. I think
Preston's like also pretty good.
But like, I mean, in terms of like, I think for new players, they're going to be more challenging to play, and I think Lola's in this list as well.
Yeah. But the difference is that Calvin and Preston become really good once you have a full card pool, and Lola stays the same.
You know,
if
Lola
anything, she gets worse because you're just disappointed.
There's a lot of... She's very divided among the community. We are all of the opinion that she is not the best. I do wish she was better. I always
be a brutal video.
Dream of it, but she's just very clunky as printed. So, her ability is after you draw your opening...
stats.
Pardon? Oh yeah, her stats. She has 3 over stats, so she's not good at anything. Like, she's okay
not bad
at everything. But she's not bad at anything, she's not good at anything. After you she also only has 6 and both of her horror and damage as well, which is...
Yeah, that's a weird choice.
They should have done 7 and 7.
They should have done like 8 and
8. Yeah, like she's 6 and 6, and Calvin is 6 and 6 as well, but he gets to end the game at 5s.
Yeah.
So
with Lola, after you draw your opening hand, you choose a role. So your role is one of the classes in the game, including neutral. You can only play, commit, or trigger abilities on neutral cards or cards of your role. So if you choose, for example, Guardian, you can only play Guardian cards, or commit Guardian cards, or trigger Guardian cards, and neutral cards throughout the whole time. We're going to be doing 2 Lola decks in this series, one now and one in like 5 weeks, where we're going to be focusing on this one, which is kind of like a neutral focus build, and then we're going to be focusing on colorful Lola, which is just all the best cards from the colors. So, once per round, as a lightning bolt action, you can switch your role. Once per round. So if you want to play, for example, 3 cards from different colors or do 3 things, you can't. So you need to like plan ahead. And even then, it won't always work out the way you want it to.
Yeah.
Because you gotta have some galaxy brain stuff and hope they don't draw the wrong card.
Oh, sorry, Travis, your microphone's a bit muffled if you want to take that one again.
Oh, so you have some galaxy brain planning and like hope you don't draw the wrong card.
Yeah. Especially the commit thing. So that's why we're starting with this one, because I feel like this deck will be the easiest Lola deck for a new player to pilot if you really want to play Lola. And I understand, we've all tried Lola, and let's talk about it. Improvisation.
I don't think I've ever had a breakdown like that over a game before.
Yeah, wasn't there that one where we've all had that moment where Lola just gets you and you're like, I'm doing nothing.
Yeah, you're like, I'm trying so hard and I can't do anything.
I know we're not exactly like selling her, but like she's very like she's challenging to play as printed. Like it's tough. It's tough. So improvisation, fast play only during your turn. Switch your role into the end of your turn. Reduce the resources cost of the next card you play your role by 3 and draw 1 card. Also commits for 2 wilds. So this is a nice way to change your role twice a turn, but also get a nice cost reduction, and it replaces itself. So like it is a strong card, but like you can't really depend on it being there, and you only get it twice when you do. But then we have
It is an insight, so there are like yellow cards you can use to like recur it from your discard pile.
Ooh.
And you can play neutral cards no matter what role you are. So you can be yellow, play your yellow card to like use it again. Yeah, like you could do that.
Her Crisis of Identity weakness can be pretty brutal, so you discard all the cards of your current role, then discard the top card of your deck, switch your role to the class of the discarded card. If the discarded card is a weakness, you switch your role to neutral. So this could just show up and like ruin your day.
Yeah. Yeah, so like the tough part about, to me, the really tough part about Lola is that like, are you really playing assets that you just don't want to use? Like, why would you do that to yourself? But also, you don't want to be in the role that your powerful assets are in. Because if you are, you might just discard them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, the true flex in this one is you just like turn yourself neutral and just stay neutral. And you're like, nothing can stop me. But let's get to the actual cards in the deck and talk through why these choices were made. So, 45 automatic. It's a gun that shoots things. You get to attack at 4. So it's a way to kill things at 4.
Yeah, it goes with the machete. Sometimes you need to kill things.
Yeah. Attacking at 4 isn't like a sure thing, but it'll get you through some things. And as Lola, no one's expecting you to be the goon. No one's expecting you to get all the clues. They're just expecting you to pull your weight for a bit, and then everyone's happy.
Pull your weight. Your team's just expecting you to do the bare minimum.
Yeah. Flashlight though is good with Lola.
In all seriousness, you have like a whole bunch of skills and stuff that you can make your punch better with, too. So, like you're not using those arrow powers for anything else.
It's true. Flashlight is a very good card, and I think it's still incredibly good here because it's neutral. You can always activate it, which doesn't sound like much, but with Lola, trust me, you're just thankful that you can always trigger this thing. So going back to
this, might be the second best card in the deck.
Going back to this with like the machete, for example, if you were yellow, if you were a seeker for your role, you could not chop someone up with the machete. Luckily, you can switch into that as a lightning bolt, so that if you're engaged with an enemy, they won't attack you, but just something to be aware of. Magnifying glass is a way to bump up your book while investigating, and I'll believe the other guys will correct me if I'm wrong, but the big thing about magnifying glass is that it's not a triggered ability, it's a passive ability, so you always will get the +1 while investigating, even if you're in another role. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. You got it.
So that's kind of like your goal with some of this.
It's also like Dr. Milan is here, so you never have to actually be yellow.
Yeah. So like, we'll get to that. Yeah, he's on the next slide. So this stuff coming up here. So shriveling is another way to kill people. You get to attack with your brain instead of your fist. With all the skills as well that are in there, as Travis was saying, you can commit them to make these better. Holy Rosary, however, though, is also a way for you to have your brain passively be 4. Same with Dr. Milan Christopher, a passive book to be 4, 5 while investigating with the magnifying glass, means you can pull your weight pretty well, and you also can you can be in these classes when you need to. Like, as Travis said, with yellow, you don't need to be in yellow. There's only magnifying glass, Dr. Milan Christopher, and then 3 other yellow cards in your deck. So you could just stay out of yellow once you have Dr. Milan and your magnifying glass down, which is a nice boost to those stats. That's pretty good as Lola. You don't get the reaction money from Dr. Milan Christopher unless you're yellow, though. So just be aware of that as well.
Yeah.
Because that is a triggered ability.
Drawn to the Flame is, I think, my favorite Lola Hayes card, because you just get 2 clues. You don't even need to make a skill test. Plus, what's the game going to do to you that you haven't already done to yourself?
It's true. What are they going to make you draw a card from your deck and then you draw your Crisis of Identity? Oh,
yeah. Like
one thing to say as well: there are 2 copies of Crisis of Identity in your deck
for some reason.
For some reason.
Maybe it's because they felt it was unfair to have 1, so they're like, we'll put 2 in so that you always expect it.
Yeah.
To reduce variance.
Yeah, it makes it. It means that it doesn't feel as bad when you draw, because you're not like, well, I was really unlucky. You're just like, nope, I'm just fucked.
It really does feel like they were a bit too scared of their first neutral card.
Yeah.
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 Like the first neutral investigator, they were just a bit scared.
It is something that you have to be careful with because she is so versatile. Like, you can't just have a character in the game who's better at like everything than anybody else is, unless they're yellow.
Yeah.
So.
All right, what's next?
Only yellow cards get to do that.
We got emergency cash, which gives you resources and you can play whenever you want.
Yeah.
You have water protection, which you need to be purple in the Mythos phase to be able to actually play. Just to remember that. Likewise, with Vicious Blow, it helps you kill monsters, but you need to be in blue in order to actually play it.
Right, but you also probably need to be in blue to activate your. Well, you don't probably. You need to be in blue to activate your weapons. You must be in blue to activate your weapon. We're not playing knife here.
No, we're not keeping that low.
Yeah, like if you're fighting, you're blue already.
Yeah.
I also don't think that like there's room for knife in this deck. I'm pretty sure I've got exactly 7 of 3 colors of cards.
Dude. You do.
It's like actually bare minimum.
You do. That's why there's the one of Shriveling and one of True Grit.
Yeah.
We got Guts, which is very strong in general, but it's also very strong in Lola. So Guts is good because the Mythos deck is going to fight you primarily through your brain stat. And this not only replaces itself if you test successfully, which it gives you 2 brain to help you do, but it also then makes it so you pass a test and the Mythos deck just doesn't hurt you, which is really, really nice. It's also neutral. So we're about to get to the big neutral package of this, the neutral skills, which is where this Lola is kind of like seated. Like, you could flex on this game and, like, stay in green as your role if you wanted to, if you just have a hand full of skills to help your other fellow investigators.
Yeah, like, if you're halfway through your deck and you haven't seen any of your Crisis of Identities yet, maybe just shift into a color that you don't have any cards of.
Yeah.
And play your neutral stuff for a little bit. Yeah.
So these all boost your stats, and they can be committed. This is what you do. This is like...
They let you play the game good.
Yeah, this is what makes it so that you always have a plan when these are in your hand. There's not much more to say. From the Carcosa cycle, there's not many things, because they're kind of focused, and this is kind of... I agree. I get what Travis was doing here. But Travis, why don't you talk about them?
We have True Grit because its deck needs a 7th blue card. And this lets you take heart damage. We have Logical Reasoning because this deck needed more yellow cards. I figured this was the best choice because it's a Guts sometimes.
Yep.
And it heals Brain as kind of a mirror to True Grit. And then we have one Stone Turn because once again we needed a 7th yellow card. And this is just a really versatile card. You could use it to dig for... You could use it to dig for your Crisis of Identity when you don't have your good yellow cards in play. Or if you like really need to be a different color and you've already used your Lightning Bolt this turn. Also, you could use it for one of your teammates, so that way they can participate in the game better.
Yeah. True Grit as well, it's not a triggered ability, so it will always be effect even if you're a different color. You're looking for when it's an activate arrow, or a loop-de-loop, or a lightning bolt even, I think.
Yeah, lightning bolts are abilities. You have to be in the color activated.
Yeah, so as long as there's none of those, you can do that on the card. All right, let's get to upgrades. Beat Cop. So this helps you fight better, gives you a +1 passive fist, as well as an awesome ability that you can use when you're in blue. And as Bryn said earlier, if you're going to be fighting things, you're going to be in blue to do that anyway. Magnifying Glass, upgraded, gives you, it's just fast and you can return it to your hand, but it's also just if you want to not spend the resource and use it on other cards. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, you can return it to your hand and then be yellow, and then draw Crisis of Identity and throw it away anyway.
Nice.
Why not?
Nice.
It really is like at the start of the round, you're like, I just hope I don't get my Crisis of Identity because I needed to be in blue to fight things this turn.
Yeah, that's every turn, man.
That's every turn.
That's actually also why the Shriveling is there, is that way you can like play it and you just have it sit and play, and then like if you happen to get screwed on throwing away all your blue stuff, like you still have the shriveling. You can do something.
Yeah.
Don't use the shriveling to fight. Use your machetes and your 45s. Shriveling is your like emergency option.
Unless you have a pile of guts and you don't have any other cards to make your punch better.
Like I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Elder Sign Amulet and Bulletproof Vest are neutral cards that make you have essentially 10 health and 10 brain.
They make you have like a normal person amount of stats.
Yeah. And you have the necklace slot is competing with Holy Rosary, if you're worried about that. But you also, if you really want to have it, and that and Holy Rosary, you can get the Relic Hunter from Dunwich Legacy. Super easy card to proxy. You just say, I am a Relic Hunter after paying 3 experience, and everything's okay. Will to Survive is a strong card. It's also the red card. It just makes it so that you don't have to reveal Chaos tokens, which as 3s actually means that you can probably do the majority of the tests for your turn, right? Because 3 is usually where it is for like non-important or like final tests, right? The majority of them. So this would be basically being like...
Even if you're trying hard tests, you have a giant pile of skills to get you to the number you need.
From her cycle, Travis, why don't you talk about these ones?
We have Ambush, which... So this one is neat because you can play it and then you don't have to be in blue for it to work.
It's true.
Also, you don't have to make a test with your 3s. Cool.
It's also very true.
Next one. Forewarned. This is Ward of Protection, but different. Next one. Test of Will. This is Ward of Protection, but different. Next one. Ward of Protection. This is Ward of Protection, but better. Next page, please. Shortcut. This is something you can play, and your teammates can use it, and you don't have to be in color for them to use it.
Yeah, and then you also could just be like, I'm not going to use it. Like, this is for you. And then everyone's like,
also,
thanks, Lola.
I think you can actually use this yourself, because it gives the location the ability, not the shortcut.
Oh, it gives the location the ability. That's actually pretty baller with Lola.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. Get that in your deck. I recommend that upgrade. I didn't even realize that. Wow.
Learn all kinds of new rule things.
Dude, Key of Yeast Lola would be pretty freaking sweet.
It's the best neutral card in the game, probably.
Yeah, just have like 6s. You're almost like, you're like Calvin. Just have to spend like 10 experience to do it. Then last but not least, there's these Desperate skills, which are pretty good upgrades, especially because you're going to have like, you have 6 health. 6 brain, sorry, your sanity. So like you're going to take 3 pretty quick, and that's going to activate these pretty quickly as well. There's 1 for each of the stats, but the Run for Your Life and Say Your Prayers are good because they are the defensive skills, and those are nice to have, especially the Say Your Prayers if you don't want to take more horror from the Mythos deck.
Yeah, it's really easy to get to that 3 sanity when you just fail your test because you can't commit any of your skills. You only have 3 brain or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
That's Lola. So
part 1.
Yeah, part 1. We'll be back for another one in a few weeks. But she's a very challenging investigator, and as you can see, we don't have like a high opinion of her because she's just, as Brenna's saying, with a neutral investigator, you got to be careful because they can't be better at everything, right? Unless they're yellow.
Yeah, they actually can't be better at anything than other investigators, because otherwise, why would you pick them?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try playing her. Like, she's still, like, just don't go... You can play her, and you can still, like, contribute to the team enough that you feel like you're doing stuff, but don't be surprised if you just, like, faceplant once in a while, and you're like, oh my god.
It's like a true actor. Most auditions, you'll fail, but eventually you'll get that role in Disney's Mulan, and everything will be okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week, where we're going to be talking about probably Tony Morgan or Mandy Thompson. So we'll see you guys then. Have a good one, and as always, GG's.